transition to most anticipated movies of 2023. Jason, you have a bunch of movies. Remy's got a few movies. I've got a few movies. Let's just quickly hit it on movies we're looking forward to. Jason, start us off.
Yeah, my list has got like 13 movies on it, but I feel like the number one for the win, Super Mario Brothers. I can't say enough good things about it. I mean, of course, this is used looking at a preview and getting these little trailers, sprinkled out to us every couple weeks of some new little scene added. But with the cast on it, as far as the voice actors and things, I'm really behind. And I absolutely love Super Mario Brothers stuff. I mean, it's something I've even gotten to more with having a daughter and owning a Switch and getting back into that world and those characters and stuff. So, yeah, that's very high on the list for me.
My number one, Dune, easily.
Part two,
Dune Part 2 is going to be the best movie of the year, for sure.
Mm-hmm. It's clearly in the best hands. I mean, Denis Villeneuve is the greatest director of the modern era. The guy does not miss. The fact that he took such care of part one. Go into that movie with absolute confidence that it's going to be as well acted as possible with great actors and is brilliantly directed and edited, and the sound's going to be like everything about this movie is going to be done to the highest level by true artists and not just some studio giving someone a bunch of notes on everything they need to pump into their movie.
Yeah. And giving them multiple movies to do it with too. Not like you got to cram this whole book into one movie, getting to, take your time with it. So yeah, I mean, that was such a good movie the first time, visually, everything about it. So why wouldn't the second one be like that too? You're right.
Yeah. My number one, which will be the best movie of the year, which is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Part 1, yeah. We're getting to Part 1 and Part 2 of these things. Oh my God.
I mean, the greatest movie star of all time is coming back again for another Mission Impossible movie where he is going to be driving a motorcycle or riding a motorcycle off of a cliff. He's been shooting promotionals for this movie where he hangs on to a biplane and he thanks everyone for seeing Top Gun Maverick. There is nobody else in Hollywood that cares about us, the audience, nearly as much as Tom cares about us. I can't wait to support this movie. I will go find the most expensive showing I can and see it so more money gets invested into Tom's pockets so he can invest it back into us, the audience.
I mean, as much as I want to hate, I like all the Mission Impossible movies. So it's like, I don't even have shit to say.
No, there's not a single one I haven't enjoyed, and it'll be like, I feel like they waited years between them. They weren't very consistent with the Mission Impossible movies. Am I right with that? It'd be like 2 years and like 4 years or something like that. And I would forget what happened in the last ones and not remember what the cast was. And you sit down and watch the next one, you immediately just fall right back into it. Like, oh yeah, these guys and this crew and going to solve some other world disaster, yeah, I'm on for the ride, so every movie was very consistent with that. I agree.
Yeah, the first movie was mid-90s. Mission Impossible 2, I think was like right around 2000, which was the weakest one of the entire franchise. But I'd say all the other ones are between good and great. Mission Impossible 3 was like 2005. And then there was kind of the gap until 2011 when you got Ghost Protocol. And to me, 4, 5, and 6 are the 3 best Mission Impossible movies. They're like its own trilogy. Simon Pegg is amazing. It's great to get Ving Rhames back into the movies, which he came back at the end of 4, but then 5 and 6. It's just probably the most consistent franchise there has ever been in the history of franchises with Hollywood. Anyway, Jason, what's another movie on or movies from your list?
I think it's not my number 2, which I want to go back to that, but I feel like a good transition from a leading man who cares about his fans and brings out consistent sequels is old John Wick. We got John Wick 4 coming out. It's old Keanu, and you either love or hate those movies. I mean, because you have to just kind of suspend disbelief and just be along for the ride on that stuff. And in Keanu, I've always enjoyed in the action role kind of thing. And so, yeah, I'm ready to sit down in one of those movies again, just like the Mission Impossible, be like, okay, I'm ready for the ride on this one and see where it takes me, sort of thing. So yeah, John Wick 4 is definitely up there. And then in kind of that same breath, the Guardians of the Galaxy 3, just another sequel, another team of classic characters coming back that I know I'm gonna sit down, watch, and enjoy and love that movie, and probably shed a couple tears for the last James Gunn movie of the MCU. That really actually hurts me, knowing that we're not going to get kind of that music based kind of fun MCU movies again. He's now taking that to DC, so I'm going to have to really enjoy this last one.
Another sports reference, but this just the way teams in sports make stupid decisions and they let good people go for no reason. It's amazing to see that play out with DC and Marvel. Both DC losing Henry Cavill as Superman is just so stupid on so many levels. And then Marvel letting James Gunn go to go run the DC is just like, why? Like, why would you let that guy go? But needless to say, I'm surprised that Guardians isn't number one on your list.
It's super close. It's super close. It's number if Dune 1 wasn't as good as it was, if Dune 1 wasn't as good as it was, Guardians 3 may have taken it, and it's possible that I end up liking Guardians 3 more than Dune 2. But I just think no, I think my voice is gone.
No, really.
You're almost there. You're almost there.
You're like on the planet of Dune, in the sand and the heat.
No. I think Guardians 3 has unlimited potential, but 1 and 2 are so good. They're so good. I think this movie is perfectly set up to be the last great MCU movie, probably ever. And I am very excited. I know I'm definitely going to cry. I know I'm going to cry. Cry plenty during the second one. So I know I'm definitely going to cry during this. But yeah, I think James Gunn just has these characters nailed down. He has a formula for the music and the vibes. And yeah, I think it's going to be a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, Guardians is the last real risk that just paid out in spades, where they took complete unknowns. I mean, Guardians comics have been around for a while, but nobody that's not an extreme comic nerd had any idea who Guardians. I had no idea who the Guardians were, other than Drax, because he's been tied into certain Marvel stories with Thanos. But to take these unknown characters and to make them household names, Star-Lord, Gamora, Rocket, Groot. I mean, really incredible that they took just, hey, you've never heard of these characters before, but we got James Gunn and we got these actors to play them. And it was just an absolute hit. So refreshing. It is the closest thing to the real original Star Wars that we've ever gotten. Just this roguish group of people that band together for a cause. And the second movie was great. I'm not as high on it as you are, but it's still like, if you go back and watch that second movie, it is a great fun time within itself. And then, yeah, this third movie, it really does feel like saying goodbye to all these characters that are so lovable and likable, and just an era of Marvel that is probably in the rearview mirror.
Another movie I'm super excited about, but also nervous about at the same time, is the new Flash movie.
You're going to support that
Ezra,
horrible human, Ezra Miller.
I honestly enjoy Ezra a lot, like as far as his rendition of Flash. But yes, all of his antics off the screen and all that's plagued it. But no, I think he brings the exact comedy and the fun to that role. But I mean, Flashpoint. I mean, I'm much more of a Marvel guy than I am DC, but I was obsessed with the Flashpoint storyline, like as a kid, like thinking about how if you could, run back in time and save your mom, you would do it, and how much repercussions that would have for the whole universe, time traveling and stuff. But there was a lot of really cool things that came out of that storyline, and a lot of cool alternate versions of people, multiverse stuff of Batman and Joker, and a lot of the characters that we knew and loved. And this was the first kind of version of DC taking everyone that we really enjoyed and throwing the whole huge twist on it. I mean, one example that I always think about is in Flashpoint, the Joker ends up killing Bruce Wayne instead of killing the parents in Crime Alley. And like what that would have the effect on, who would become Batman, who would become Joker, and all that sort of stuff. So the dad ends up becoming Batman, and the mom ends up becoming Joker in this alternate reality because they couldn't deal with the death of their son. So thinking of just like little things in a universe where character origins can be so thrown off by like something so different, I really, really enjoyed about this. And we're having a lot of cool actors of Batman. I mean, Michael Keaton coming back to play Batman, and like little things like that about this movie are making me really, really excited. But I'm also kind of nervous of what they're going to do with the storyline, or if this is going to be just, is this going to be a reset or for the DC stuff? Are they including this in the new kind of James Gunn storyline, or is this going to be some like send off last finale of what they were doing with the DC universe, now moving into something else? But having such a storyline that meant a lot to me as a kid, and even now as an adult, still like, okay, what are you going to do with this? So I'm excited and nervous, but that's probably number 2 or number 3 on my most anticipated movies this year.
I did watch the trailer to this, and because DC clearly believes in this movie, because if they thought it was a piece of shit, then they either they can it, which they're not going to do because they already did that to Batwoman or Batgirl. Which one did they can?
Woman, yeah.
So they weren't. This movie was obviously a much higher budget. They're not just going to shit can this one. So they're saying, "Oh no, this is the best DC movie since Dark Knight." They're pushing it as that. Is it going to be that? I don't know. There's moments of the trailer where I see and I'm like, you know what? It actually looks kind of interesting. But then I had a Val Kilmer moment from Tombstone where I'm watching and I'm like, okay, this might be interesting. But the moment when Ezra Miller is talking to another Ezra Miller and I have to watch 2 Ezra Millers, who, personal life aside, I don't like him as an actor. I really hate his Flash, and I just think he is unbearable to watch on screen. So when those 2 were talking to each other, I was like, nope.
It's my worst nightmare coming
true. I just thought of Val Kilmer in Tombstone when he's like,
no, I'm sure of it. I hate him.
That's a feeling I had. Like, maybe it'll be a good...
I was waiting for the Tombstone to come back around.
Yeah, Johnny Ringo. Maybe it'll be a good movie. I don't know. I just know that the 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever it is of Ezra Miller, like, I don't like him as an actor, as a character, or as a person. And so I may see this movie, but under protest.
I will not be seeing this movie. No chance in hell.
Oh, man.
No chance in hell. I will not see this movie.
What movie will you see?
The 2 I already told you.
Do you have another one that you want to mention?
Super Mario Bros. For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely really excited about that. I think it's going to be a great movie. Asteroid City. Love me some Wes Anderson. Most incredible cast of all time. Oppenheimer has potential. I think Christopher Nolan's totally fucked as a director at this point in his career, but I'm holding out some hope. And Transformers 17, because it'll have like 5 minutes of greatness in it.
Oh, the Beast one. Yeah, that's right. All the animals. Yeah.
Yeah, I am very excited. Like Oppenheimer, just Cillian Murphy in a potential Oscar nomination type of role. I'm very interested to see his take on Oppenheimer. It is funny the way they've pitched this movie is that the PR came out was like, this is the biggest practical explosion that we've seen replicating an atom bomb. Like it couldn't just be here's Christopher Nolan making a biopic. It's like, guys, we're still paying for the IMAX of this movie. Like it's the way they have to sell the movie is kind of like, all right, well, at the end of the day, I hope it's great. I mean, Christopher Nolan was one of the first directors that I really fell in love, with those early Memento and Prestige. And yeah, his movies necessarily never have the best written characters, but just like with other who did we mention earlier? Anyway, it doesn't matter. With other directors of the time, it's appointment viewing. When you see his movies, you're going to see a Nolan movie. You are going to get something that's worth your money in that movie. But this has such a great cast. And Cillian Murphy being put in the spotlight. We really don't see him in a major movie as the lead these days in American movies. So I'm very excited to see that.
Another one, 65. I'm intrigued about that one. The one with Adam Driver, where it's the dinosaur one.
That basically looks like a movie version of the video game Turok.
Yeah. And it's just dinosaur movies besides Jurassic Park, I feel like, are not a thing. So let's have someone else do a dinosaur movie for once,
Yeah. The Killer is a movie directed by David Fincher with Michael Fassbender. It's based on a graphic novel where Michael Fassbender is an assassin who starts to gain a conscience. And so he's been tasked to carry out these assassinations, but meanwhile, he's being very reluctant to do so. And that storyline and the potential for violence in this movie, directed by one of the greatest directors of all time, David Fincher. I cannot wait for this movie because Mindhunter, his last project, Mindhunter, was Mindhunter, and then there was Mank, which Mank was much more
Mindhunter. Where's more Mindhunter?
He said that was the sad part. He said he's not going to do Mindhunter anymore because it's just too much of a budget and it's too much work for Netflix to kind of to roll the dice on a third season. So it sounds like he's not going to do it, which is a bummer. But those 2 seasons of Mindhunter are phenomenal.
Oh yeah, great. What else is on my list? Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Another Spider-Verse movie. Yes. I think we're even getting wilder renditions of Spider-Man besides Spider-Ham.
Well, Jason, which Spider person are you most excited for? Is it Spider-Bite? Is it Spider-Man India? Is it Miles Morales? Is it Spider-Gwen? Is it Spider-Man 2099?
I think it's the Mohawk Spider-Man. Yeah.
Voiced by Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah, no, I love the first movie. I haven't seen too much actually for the second one as far as preview stuff because I'm sold. All you got to do is tell me the second one's coming out and I'll be first in line.
It is exactly what problems I had with the first Spider-Verse movie are just being amplified by a billion in this movie, which is we have 1,000 spider people. Just 1,000 of them. Because what's more interesting than 1,000 people that can shoot webs? This one shoots webs, but they're electrified. This one wears sneakers. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Can we just stick to a story about a guy from a neighborhood that has this crazy power where he can stick to walls? I don't need 1,000 different people with the same goddamn power.
I do. I need 1,000 people with the same power in my life. I definitely do. I know, but this is a whole episode in itself, is us going back and forth with multiverse versions of your beloved favorite superhero, and me loving every rendition of them, but you wanting the core one, and to be the one and only. What was that multiverse movie with the one? Wasn't it Jet Li had to kill all the versions of himself? Yeah, to be the one. That's what you guys want, is that the good old fashioned Peter Parker standing on a corpse of all of the other Spider-Men.
Yeah, give me a multiverse. Give me another universe where Peter Parker turns into Ben Reilly, turns into Spider Carnage, and he kills all the other Spider people. I will write that. You know what? I've talked about like what I would. You once asked me what I would write, like if I was to get Spider-Man, how I would write a Spider-Man story that's different from what we've gotten traditionally. That's the story I would write. I would write about how Peter Parker lost his mind because they took his powers, they gave it to thousands of people, so no one cared about Peter Parker anymore. So then he tried to distance himself from being the original Spider-Man by becoming Ben Reilly, who then lost his mind and became Spider Carnage. He got bonded with the symbiote, and he just rips Miles Morales in half and just throws Gwen Stacy off a bridge. And that would be my story. So Marvel, if you're listening, I have a great rated R movie for you.
So wait, this is Kang. You're pretty much telling this version, the Spider-Man's going around killing all the other versions of himself. So yeah, we're seeing that play out.
Well, the difference being that Kang, like you get 1,000 Kangs that die, but the original classic Coke, Peter Parker, reigns supreme.
Well, I mean, that's Secret Invasions. So that's I don't know what angle they're going to go, but that's what Secret Invasions was in the comic books. Is they got so out of hand with all of the different multiverse versions of stuff, so they pit them against each other and fought and to be whoever the surviving version of Doctor Doom or Spider-Man or Cyclops or anything like that. It's like, yeah, if you win, you get to be the only one standing on top.
Yeah, I can get behind that. And that's Last Page.